And I will call to order the regular meeting of the governing board for San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. Good morning. Still morning. Welcome to our meeting of the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Governing Board. We have board members participating in person in our offices in Fresno, Bakersfield, and Modesto. We will do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation via Zoom and webcast. Before we begin, here are some important guidelines and general instructions for the meeting. Please silence your other communication devices, such as your cell phone. During the meeting, all public participants will be placed on mute by the host. Public members will not be able to mute or unmute manually. Audio for members of the public will be unmuted once they are recognized to make public comment. After each item, the chair will announce public comment. The clerk will recognize any public attendee who has indicated they wish to speak. So, Madam Clerk, if we could have a roll call, please.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chiesa, Mr. Couch, Ms. Escutia Brayton. Here. Ms. Lewis. Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Mr. Mendez.
Here.
Dr. Pacheco Warner.
Here.
Mr. Pereira.
Here.
Mr. Preciado.
Here.
Mr. Reyna.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Rickman.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Dr. Sheriffs.
Here.
Ms. Nguyen. Here. Ms. Shuglian.
Here.
To the chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Our next item is approval of the consent calendar, items 11 through 16. These items are routine in nature and are usually approved by a single vote. Prior to action by the board, the public will be given the opportunity to comment on any item, consent item. Is there any public comment for the consent calendar?
Thank you. Are there any members of the public in Fresno that would like to comment on the consent calendar? Seeing none and none online. Modesto, do you have any public comments for the consent calendar?
No public comments in Modesto.
Thank you. Bakersfield, do you have any members of the public to comment on the consent calendar?
No public comment in Bakersfield.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion. For
Move to
approval.
approve. Second.
Okay, we have McCauley and Mendez. Roll call, please.
Okay, Ms. Escutia Brayton.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley,
Yes.
Mr. Mendez,
Yes.
Dr. Pacheco Warner,
Yes.
Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Mr. Preciado,
Aye.
Mr. Reyna,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Sheriffs,
Yes.
Ms. Nguyen,
Yes.
Ms. Shuglian.
Aye.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you. Item 4 is public comment. This time is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on agenda item 7. The public may make comments on this agenda item during the time allowed for public comment on that item. Attention is called to the fact that the board is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comment?
Are there any members of the public in Central that would like to comment at this time? Seeing none and none online. Bakersfield, do you have any public comments?
No public comment in Bakersfield.
Thank you. Modesto, do you have any members of the public to comment?
We do have one comment here in Modesto.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, please state your name.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Maren Pitt and I'm with the Manufacturers Council of the Central Valley. The reason I come before you today is to bring attention to the Legislative Analyst Office recommendations relative to CARB's proposed budget, relative to its proposed expansion of fee authority. While the CARB budget isn't necessarily in the direct purview of this governing board, there is a lot of collaboration and quid pro quo that goes along between the CARB's board, its policy and financial decisions, and what happens here in the Valley. CARB's budget is proposed to be $1.2 billion and adding 118 FTEs to their budget. But they're also asking in the budget trailer bill to expand with broad and undefined authority to levy additional regulatory fees. I asked that the governing board take a look at the Legislative Analyst Office review of CARB's budget and understand their concerns that this proposal represents an unjustified and excessive delegation of legislative authority to the executive branch, particularly to an already expansive regulatory agency. MCCV respectfully asks the members of this board to urge the legislature to maintain its constitutional responsibility for fee setting and fiscal oversight, especially on issues as consequential as environmental policy and climate funding mechanisms. This proposal grants CARB unprecedented, unchecked fiscal authority where it proposes a broad swath of ability to authorize its own fees under Division 26 of the Health and Safety Code and offers them a blank check. As part of the regulated industry that makes up part of California's fourth largest economy in the world, we have a problem with that. There's also no clear justification or transparency that's provided by CARB and has not demonstrated why this sweeping new fee authority is necessary. This new ask, poses risk to economic competitiveness and equity are high in terms of what it would possibly do. The CARB has sufficient tools already to address its mission, its climate goals, and those must be pursued within the governance framework that is already in place that contains accountability and prioritization. CARB unsuccessfully sought this authority under AB 916 in the previous legislative session, in which they were not successful. But we respectfully urge that you take a look at the LAO's budget, that we concur with their opposition to CARB's ask in the budget trailer bill, and that California's leadership in climate policy can and must be exercised through transparent, accountable, and constitutionally sound processes. Thank you for your attention to this matter and your commitment to responsible governance.
Thank you for your comments.
Hey, Modesto, do you have any further comments?
No further comments in Modesto.
Okay, there are no further comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 5. Oh, we'll skip that one. Yeah. Which is the recognition of outgoing governing board member, Mayor Preciado.
Through the chair, thank you. This is Samir, the executive director here at the San Joaquin Valley Air District, and I wanted to maybe help kick off this recognition of a board member who I know those of you that have been on the board or those in the public who've been watching and participating in our board meetings have seen somebody who's actually been really active in the now 6 years that he's been on the governing board. It's a very long period of time. I think the mayor has seen a lot of action going on here at the board level. We've seen a lot of transition. You've seen a lot of air quality improvements. 6 years actually is a very, very long time to be in this field and to be a very vocal member, a very positive, collaborative, and energetic member of this board who has always championed rural communities in this role, has always highlighted the importance of better outreach, of understanding the uniqueness of those communities, has always demanded, that we do better. We all do better to get into these communities more effectively. And somebody who I've, spent a lot of time with, somebody who served on other bodies, actually was a CSE member in the past. There's an advisory committee member, has served on the Regional Policy Council, plays many other roles, and has just been a very important part of this board's work and the Air District's work over a number of years now. So with that, I just wanted to oh, by the way, I just want to acknowledge also that Anthony Lopez is in the audience, a great city manager there, City of Avenal, who's been, no, we're sure about that. Yeah, you're doing a great job over there, and somebody who's been active in helping connect resources there at the city level. Just thank you for driving all the way here to Fresno to support this acknowledgement of your mayor and our board member. We have a plaque here for you, Mayor Preciado, that I'd like to present really quickly before turning it back over to the board. It says healthier living at the top, and Mayor Alvaro Preciado with the City of Avenal with gratitude for your service 2019 to 2025 from the Governing Board of the San Joaquin Valley Unified Air Pollution Control District. And so with that, Chair and board members, maybe a round of applause for your service, Mayor. Turn it back to you for any other comments, and perhaps we can get a few words of wisdom from the outgoing board member as well.
Okay, we will do that. Do I have, oh, yes. Supervisor Pereira.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Alvaro, it's been a pleasure to serve alongside you for your time here. Supervisor Chiesa had to leave the meeting, but asked me to, and I concur with them. So these are nice comments to you. And it's been a wonderful experience working with you and getting to know you. And what we found and talked about was how thoughtful, engaged that you always are. And your professionalism and preparedness is admirable. So we appreciate you and wish you well in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Supervisor Mendez.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you. I think you've been a great board member. Even today, you asked a very pertinent and important question, which you always do. You always are a great contributor. We have served on other boards together, and I want to thank you for your service. And I hope to continue to see and talk to you.
Supervisor Robinson.
Mayor, I just want to congratulate you. I know we'll see each other lots because we're both in Kings County together. But I will miss my Kings County colleague. You do a great job advocating for Avenal, advocating for our county and the entire airport. Thank you.
Dr. Sheriffs.
Thank you. It's hard to believe it was only 6 years ago that I was first offered a chocolate candy while sitting on this board, and it has led me down a terrible road since. But you really have been a terrific board member, and really appreciate your advocacy on behalf of rural communities, particularly. It's been said you're outgoing. I would say, given some earlier discussion today, no, you are being reclassified. And instead of being a board member, you will be an air champion at large.
Thank you. Dr. Pacheco Warner.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that definitely you leave so much legacy here in terms of what you've done and your advocacy for rural communities, and helping all of us be more thoughtful about rural communities. And also language access in all that we do. So just, you do definitely leave a footprint, and I look forward to getting emails from you and as a champion at large. So
Supervisor Rickman.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. Mayor, I just want to say it was great getting to know you the last couple of years, hanging out a little bit at the conferences and getting to know about, your city and all. And we'll miss you. If I'm ever down your way, I'll look you up.
Council Member Escutia Bratton.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Preciado, it has been a pleasure working alongside you. You have demonstrated professionalism and just leadership in your role, not only on this body here, but in everything you do. You've represented your constituency, even not only your city constituency, but a broader constituency very, very well. And thank you very much for that. As in particular, the disadvantaged community, you have never been shy at stepping up in advocating for them. And for that, I'm particularly grateful. So gracias por todo lo que ha hecho usted. Ha sido un gran placer trabajar con usted. Le deseo lo mejor. I wish you well.
All right. Mr. Mayor?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all. It's been six years. Time flies, but it's been really an honor to be a member of the governing board. And I want to, just thank staff, everybody, and and we'll continue the work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everybody said it all so well, but a heartfelt thank you to you and your commitment. And as folks said, you're championing for your community. Thank you. It could be, yeah. With just me or? Oh, okay, sure. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to item 6, which is a report on the District Citizens Advisory Committee activities. Mr. Cunha.
Good morning. Yeah, still morning. God. Good morning. Manuel Cunha, member of the CAC. Patricia Matthews is the chair, was not able to make it today, so I'm doing the presentation. It's in your package. You've had a long board meeting. Samir, the executive, gave a report on the 15 microgram. And then we went into the regular rules and amendments that we have before the district, the residential wood smoke. Great presentation by the staff, and the charts are incredible. And then, of course, 617, all the great work that everybody has done on that, and reports from the various staff, and Dr. Pacheco Warner, Brian, that from ARB, tremendous, motivated young man, and he has done a tremendous job every time with the reports that come to our CAC. So if you could pass that on to him, he has done a great job. So thank you. Also in the report is the item that took a lot of discussion. It was the first time in my 22 years on the CAC that I ever seen the Citizens Advisory Committee of all 3 groups very upset.
Those things just happen.
Okay. And in that discussion was that when CARB did its report, Michael Benjamin, who is one of the exec team of CARB, was instructed to give a report to the Citizens Advisory Committee about they will no longer be coming to our board meetings monthly because the value and the cost is too much, and that we were the only air district out of the 34s that had such a request that before this, our Valley CAC would be to give us a monthly report because of the CARB board and the stuff they're doing, and $500 million worth of incentives, and the 617 and the waivers and everything else that goes on. Pretty much, I told the CAC they will no longer be coming every month because of the budget problem. But they're going to hire 118 new members. And just for under the Information Freedom Act, CARB has 268 million in reserve right now that they didn't spend. So apparently, I don't know how much it costs to send a representative to speak before our board every month. I hope it's not 268 million for one person. But upon that, pretty much upset many of the CAC members from the environmental community, the mayors that are on that board, pretty much said that the way that describes was that some of the staff was not respected from CARB, and that's not true. CAC members have a right to ask questions. And the next question was asked by a mayor, specifically was retaliation because of the waivers that have come down and cutting CARB's ability to regulate and force us all into electrification when that is not even practical, possible, or whatever. And when one of the mayors from one of the cities said they had to buy a garbage truck, they had to buy 2 electrics, and each cost $1 million each, and that to deal with their new clean diesel. It is the first time that I've ever, and there was a request that a letter be sent to the chairman of the board, all the board members of CARB, the Valley legislators, and the governor's office about the behavior, but pretty much told the San Joaquin Valley Citizens Advisory Committee via the board that we're really not important, and they don't have to answer our questions, and that they would come every quarter and ask. We would ask the questions every month. They would come at the end of 4 months and give us and see if they would respond or not. But I will tell you this, I have never been disappointed. The young man that did the presentation, I know him too well. Somebody asked him to do that presentation from the top level and come to us, and I know that young man, and he has to live what he told us and what went on and everything. Yeah, he's retiring in the month of May. It's over. But to have him walk away with what was said, I feel for him because he's a wonderful person. He really is. But he was directed to be, and I will use this as me making comments at the meeting, an scapegoat for the entire upper management of California Resources Board to come and deliver such a message. We are forwarding a letter that is coming from the CAC. They are crafting the letter. And I want to make it sure that everybody understands from the board. The CAC is crafting the letter and putting the letter together. Not this district staff or whatever. No, we're looking at our minutes, but we are crafting it so that nothing could ever be said. But I've never been so disappointed in my entire life with the California Resources Board, and to pretty much tell us to go fly a kite or jump off the cliff. But we're not going to jump off the cliff. We're not going to fly a kite, and we're going to send the letters, and the CAC is going to be even more vigilant and more concerned about how CARB spends its money and how we can take away and ruin programs, but totally disrespectful. And I feel sorry. And Dr. Pacheco Warner, if you will please relay that to Michael Benjamin. He is a wonderful person, and he did not need to be given that at his retirement of what he'll have to live with. So thank you again for letting me speak on the CAC report.
Thank you, Manuel. Appreciate that report. Okay, our next item is an action item, which is to adopt the proposed amendments to district fee rules. Oh, I apologize. Rusty, you had a comment?
Thank you, Manuel, for that report. I would just like to echo Manuel's comments. I also had the opportunity to speak to Mayor Matthews, and she too was greatly disappointed in this decision, as am I. I think constructive criticism is an important element to civic life. And so we need to have a consistent exchange of ideas. So I hope they reconsider their decision. Thank you, man.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Now we will move on to item 7. Adopt proposed amendments to district fee rules. Morgan?
Yes, good morning still. Morgan Lambert, Deputy Air Pollution Control Officer, and if you could bring the presentation up, thank you. As part of this item, I'll be presenting a proposed adjustment to the district fees, as well as the process involved in coming to the decision that a fee adjustment is necessary at this point. And this process is really critical. It helps keep us focused on streamlining and cost cutting here at the district, and also keeps us informed of any ongoing basis of any imbalances that we're starting to see in our cost versus our revenues, and informs district decisions on whether or not adjustments are necessary to make up these imbalances. Maintaining an active and effective air quality management program at low cost is a high priority for your board in the district. In fact, raising fees is always a last resort for the district. We devote significant and ongoing efforts to extensive efficiency and streamlining efforts, and in trying to ensure that we have the highest productivity in all program areas that we operate. And this attention to streamlining really pays off. We issue more permits per staff than other air districts. We do more inspections per inspector than other air districts, issue more grants per employee, and the list goes on when you compare us to other air districts across the state. We also invest heavily in technology and automation, where it can make a difference in our ability to provide exceptional service and to streamline the efforts that we do and keep costs low. And on an annual basis, as you just heard during the special hearing, we implement one of the best cost-cutting tools that an agency can employ, our zero-based budgeting process, where we essentially zero out each department's budget each year and ask them to demonstrate, based on their actual expected workload, the resources that they actually need in the coming year. There's a lot more to that, of course, but the end result is that we continually absorb new and additional state and federal mandates with existing resources that we have here, and have done so for many, many years, and have only actually had to come to your board to ask for a vote on a general fee increase 4 times since 1992, when the Air District was formed, with the last being in 2018. In terms of validation of our efforts, there's been many independent audits over the years, and we're regularly audited to examine our efficiency and efficacy, including one audit that was commissioned by local air quality advocates that compared us to the other air districts in the state of California. And that audit found that we were by far the most efficient air district operating. That audit concluded that we got far more reductions in emissions per dollar spent on staff costs, and managed it all with overhead and administrative costs more than 20% lower than those other major air districts that were compared. More recently, the state auditor's office completed an audit of the district's fees and fee setting process. The state auditor concluded that our fees were low compared to our program costs, and that we lawfully use supplemental revenue, state operating grants, federal operating grants, in an effort to keep our fees low and to make up any differences that we had there. And of course, there have been many positive audits of our incentive grant programs, our financial programs, our IT programs, or other operational programs that we have here. And we routinely receive the highest form of recognition from the Government Finance Officers Association, their Award of Excellence in Financial Reporting, which we've received for 11 straight years. So I can tell you all day about how great all this cost cutting is, but I think it really takes some numbers to show the results that it's had. On this chart right here, it's a comparison of our fee increases on a percentage basis compared to the other major air districts in California over the past 20 years. And when you look at this chart, excuse me, I think it starts to tell the picture of how we operate compared to many others in the state. Over this past 20 years, the Bay Area has increased their fees by 320%. The South Coast has done so by about 150%. San Diego, Sacramento, both over 100%. And we're down in the green on the bottom part there at about 40% over that same time period. We included the blue chart, which is the California CPI, just as another measure of evaluation. We're about half of what the CPI has been over that same time period. But obviously, percents don't tell the whole story. Perhaps back 20 years ago, our fees were higher, and so we haven't had to raise our fees as much over these years. But that's not the case, as I'll show in the next slide. This right here is a comparison of annual permit fee renewals. Again, it's for a host of different categories. This is very common equipment that facilities may have permits for here throughout the valley, as well as in adjacent air districts as well. And as you can see, kind of across the board, the fees for an annual permit renewal are very much more modest here in the valley than they are if a similar operation operating in these other air districts. So having set the table, let me talk a little bit about the process that we've gone through to assess our ongoing revenues and expenditures. This is something that we do to some degree every single year as we're going through our budgeting process. Some years it gets a little bit more involved when we think these imbalances are starting to pop up, and that was the case this year. As you remember, we came to your board, I believe it was back in February, and kind of talked about this process. As we always do, we're always looking for continuous improvement and input from your board on how we go about our processes. And so we came and presented this process and then asked for your input before kicking off a full public process. The first thing we do obviously is we estimate our ongoing and future workload for existing and anticipated mandates. We estimate and identify and implement any cost-saving measures through efficiency improvements that we think we can come and deploy to these mandates. We develop estimates for all program costs, services, supplies, fixed assets, obviously. We employ our zero-based budgeting procedures to ensure execution of all the mandates at the lowest possible cost. As you saw during this year, we're showing an overall increase, a 0% change in our budget year to year. We also assess all the revenue that's available from our existing fees, external funding sources that we have. And then lastly, if we decide that we think it's necessary to consider a fee increase, we go through a full public process holding workshops to get feedback and obviously before we come to your board as we are today with a recommendation for consideration. Now, the next several slides are focused on workload mandates and efficiency, but as a demonstration of our continuous pursuit of cost cutting, I'm going to go ahead and streamline all of these out just because we just had a very robust discussion during our budgeting process. So I'm going to skip ahead to slide 21 if you're following along in your packets. I also recognize that as I often do, I find myself as the last major presentation right before lunch. So, so with that, in spite of all the streamlining and efficiency efforts that were presented during the budget presentation and which I just skipped over in this prior slides, the district is facing some program costs that are exceeding our revenues at this point. On average, our fees are only covering about 61% of our programmatic costs in the programs that are funded by our fees. It's important to note that we do not aim to have our fees completely cover the cost. Fees are used in conjunction with other supplemental revenue sources, such as state and federal operating grants to fund our full program. But however, as we're currently at this 61%, and as this has actually been trending down since our last fee increase 7 years or so ago, we felt it time and necessary now to come forward with a recommendation. So at this point, we are proposing a fee adjustment to partially defray the increase in costs we have seen since our last fee increase in 2018. We're proposing to implement the adjustment through a phased-in approach. With an 8% increase to most of the district's permit-related fees in this year and another 8% next year, with the combination bringing in about $2.5 million in additional revenue over those 2 years. The use of supplemental revenue sources and additional cost cutting through the district's budgeting process is expected to cover the remaining shortfall to ensure the district has sufficient funds to cover the cost of the mandated programs while continuing to provide the high level of service expected by our governing board of stakeholders. So obviously, when we go through this process, it's very important as we look at what we can cut or what we need fees to. It's always with the eye of how do we provide the best service possible to our stakeholders. And I think as you routinely hear, stakeholders are very satisfied with the level of service that we provide. So after these adjustments, we will still have by far the lowest permitting fees of any of the major air districts, and it will still be well below CPI when looked at over the last 20 years. So this table right here is just an updated table of our annual permit fees. It includes what these fees would look like after the fee increase in the next 2 years. As you can see, the story remains the same. We'll still be well below all the other major air districts throughout California when you compare the fees. So in summary, this proposed fee increase is necessary to reduce the operating deficit, but it won't eliminate it. Continued and intensive streamlining and efficiency efforts, along with the use of supplemental revenues, will be required to balance the district's costs and revenues. And at the end of the day, the San Joaquin Valley will continue to have the lowest permitting fees of any of the other major air districts in California. We have attached and included links. The proposal will be for most of our permitting rules. There are some exceptions, which I'll just go over really quickly, that will not be included in the fee rule. One is our ag burn fee rule. We're not proposing any increase to that currently right now. Through our assessment, we have determined that these fees are adequate to cover our program costs right now, especially in light of the fact that we're in this phase out process right now and this program is ramping down. On Rule 3100, which is a CEQA fee, this fee is when we must prepare an environmental document under CEQA when we in fact become the lead agency or having to do some cleanup work under CEQA. It's very rare that we have to do this. This is we pay for directly pay for our time in this, or charge for our time in this, and so it's we think the current fee mechanism is sufficient here. We currently receive targeted state money to implement the California oil and gas regulation and to facilitate the use of prescribed fire as a method to combat wildfires. As such, there is no need currently to adjust fee rules 3156 and 3160 at this time, which basically would cover our costs in light of the fact if we did not get those state revenues. The next several rules here are related to federally mandated ozone non-attainment fees, 3170 through 3173. The fees for these programs are all actually mandated in the Federal Clean Air Act. We don't have any discretion to change these fees. And so there's no proposed changes here. And then lastly on this slide is Rule 3200, which is a petroleum refinery community air monitoring fee. This implemented a state law that was passed a few years ago. It's a recent fee that we're in progress of implementing these requirements. And so as it was adopted recently, we don't see any need to adjust it at this time. In terms of the public rulemaking process, after we came to your board back in February, we held a public workshop on March 26th with draft rules published prior to the workshop. We also had provided notice of this hearing, and proposed rule amendments were published on 30 days before April 15th of this year. We've also discussed the need and the process of this fee adjustment at a variety of public meetings, including permit stakeholders. There's been many opportunities for the public input throughout our entire rule development process. And to date, we have received no comments on the proposed rules at any time during the rulemaking process. So with that today, we would ask and recommend that you adopt the proposed amendments to the Regulation 3 fee rules that are in your packet, and authorize the chair to sign the attached resolution. And we're available for any comments you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Any comments or questions for Morgan? Okay, buddy? That's all right. You don't have to do that.
Didn't press my deal if I turned it off. You know, on the petroleum refinery, do we even have one? Are we down to like one?
We have 3 currently right now.
They're still in Kern County.
Yes.
But the total production is like way less than what it was 20 years ago, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's why we're going to see $8 gas in the state. Is it going to close? If something happens, the 2 biggest refineries are not in our air district, but
yeah,
what a great country. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Dr. Sheriffs.
Thank you, and thank you for that summary report. It certainly seems 7 years on, time to look at this again. And it's something we'd rather not have to do, but it's important to do. And it's important that particularly as funding gets tighter or more uncertain, we have to be more careful with what we've got. So it seems like a very appropriate approach. And I think I missed, well, we certainly don't want to have a huge increase one hit. That's not something that's helpful for businesses. This is good because it's helping people plan that this is coming. I'm also presuming that we need to continue to look at this because 27, 28, we don't know, and may need to make adjustments then or not as well.
Through the chair, I just want to say, like, yes, that's certainly part of our ongoing commitment to the zero-based budgeting process. And in light of all we look at that environment every single year, and I think just wanted to respond that that's something we definitely would do.
Thank you. All right, this is, I see no more questions. There is action on this item, but first, is there any public comment?
Do we have any members of the public in Fresno that would like to comment on this item? Seeing none and none online. Bakersfield, do you have any public comments?
No public comment in Bakersfield.
Thank you. Modesto, do you have any public comments?
No public comments in Modesto.
No further comments.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion. Mayor Preciado's last motion, second by Dr. Sherris. Roll call, please.
Okay, Mrs. Scutia Braden.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley,
Yes.
Mr. Mendez.
Yes.
Dr. Pacheco Warner, Mr. Pereira,
Aye.
Mr. Preciado,
Yes.
Mr. Reyna.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Rickman,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Sheriffs.
Yes.
Ms. Nguyen,
Yes.
Ms. Shucklian.
Aye.
To the chair, motion passes.
Thank you. Our next item is a verbal report on the California Air Resources Board activities. As if we don't know some of them.
Yeah, I think. Thank you all. I think that the main thing here is that continue to communicate with CARB leadership and staff around our ongoing relationship and how we all work together. It's not, personalities don't help anybody breathe any easier. So thank you.
Okay, Executive Director report.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple of quick things. Wanted to let the board know that the Special City Selection Committee met in the last week or so. I want to thank Councilmember Lewis, Councilmember Nguyen, and Mayor Preciado for their participation in that. The committee did appoint Madera City Councilmember Jose Rodriguez to the board to fill in the soon-to-be vacant seat, and is somebody that I think a lot of the board members know him from other worlds, and just wanted to congratulate him, and you'll be seeing him at the June board meeting. I also wanted to note that the English version of the annual report has arrived, and I've got a copy of it right here to show off. It's available in all the regions. Let me know if you need additional copies. We'll get them out to you, and it has been translated into Spanish, and it's currently being printed, and we will get that version out to you as soon as it arrives. And that was actually one of Mayor Preciado's ideas, actually, when he was on the board. So I want to note that as well. Lastly, just wanted to mention a couple of things on the federal level. I recently had the opportunity to meet with the new Region 9 Administrator, Josh Cook, to try to build the relationship with EPA Region 9 and communicate our needs, our challenges, and hopefully look for some opportunities to work with EPA Region 9 over the next couple of years. Also had an opportunity to meet with the new air administrator on a national level, Aaron Sabo. And we also similarly discussed again, the Valley's, history, its unique needs and challenges, and the real need for EPA to support the work that we're doing here. Kind of on that same sort of general note, there is a potential trip here around the corner that is being organized with myself and a couple of key staff, and then with Vice Chair McCauley, to try to continue to build those relationships with EPA and other agencies and the Valley delegation and others back to DC. So just wanted to note that that'll be, assuming everything goes as planned, that would be in late June. So just wanted to note that as well, and happy to take any questions or comments.
Any questions for Samir? Okay, then we will move on. Are there any more governing board member comments? Yes, Bobby.
Yeah, just want to give a quick update. So yesterday was kind of a special day because it was the first time in 3.5 years that Tom Wheeler did not have to get a cancer treatment. So he's had 3 consecutive clean scans, so he's officially in remission. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Very nice.
Through the chair, can I make one quick, I just want to acknowledge Supervisor McCauley for one thing. I should have mentioned earlier that he actually is one of, I think, 2 local members that are appointed to the state's forest. I'm trying to remember the exact name, but the state forest, I think, resiliency task force. Wildfire task force. Yeah. And I just want to make sure everybody here was aware of that. That's a very important role, and there's a lot of activity going on in that area. I just want to acknowledge him for his local perspective and just being one of our board members that can also play that role, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. Councilmember Wynn, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the staff for coming out to Visalia's Earth Day Party for the Planet. It was great to see them out there. We had over 300 people attend, which is, not the 1,000 of Fresno, but that's still a great turnout. My only suggestion was a puppy or a Cybertruck for the kids, because those were the 2 most popular, booths out there. But thank you again for showing up.
All right. If there are no more questions or comments, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.